Have you ever scrolled through used car listings and seen that 10-year-old sedan for $3,000 and thought, that is it? That is your ticket to wheels without the debt? I understand why that thought feels so logical. The surface math always looks clean. Pay less upfront, keep more cash in your pocket, and drive away without monthly payments hanging over your head. But what if I told you that cheap car could easily end up costing you more than a luxury vehicle over the next 5 years? Not maybe? Not sometimes. It happens often enough that financial advisors and automotive analysts warn against it regularly. Today, we are breaking down exactly why this happens, using verified ownership data, real repair cost averages, and the practical details that keep you from getting burned at a dealership lot or in a private driveway. When we talk about a cheap car in the current United States market, we are generally looking at vehicles priced under $10,000. These cars are typically 8 to 12 years old and carry between 80,000 and 150,000 miles on the odometer. They have already survived the steepest part of their depreciation curve. On paper, that sounds like a clear win. You are not paying for that initial 20% value drop that happens the moment a new car is driven off the lot, and you are absolutely right about that part. Depreciation is smaller in absolute dollars, which means your upfront loss is limited. But here is where the story gets complicated. The average annual cost to own and operate a new vehicle in the United States sits at $11,577, according to AAA's 2025 Year Driving Costs Report. That figure blends depreciation, fuel, insurance, maintenance, tires, registration, and finance charges together into one realistic number. A cheap used car does not carry that same depreciation burden, but it frequently trades that savings for higher repair frequency, less predictable maintenance intervals, and potentially higher out-of-pocket costs when something fails. What do buyers usually expect when they choose a budget vehicle? Most people expect simplicity. They expect fewer electronics to malfunction, lower monthly insurance premiums, and the freedom to walk away from a costly repair if the car is no longer worth fixing. Those expectations are not completely wrong. Full coverage insurance for a non-luxury vehicle averages about $173 per month, while luxury models run closer to $237 monthly. That is a real, measurable savings that matters if your budget is tight, but expectations rarely match the actual ownership reality. The average repair bill across all makes and models in the United States now sits at $838, according to Kelley Blue Book data from 2025. That number has climbed 43.6% since 2019. Parts costs, labor rates, and diagnostic fees have all risen, and older budget cars are not immune to those increases. The reason those repair bills keep climbing comes down to vehicle complexity. Even decade-old economy cars now carry networks of sensors, integrated control modules, advanced emissions systems, and computerized safety features. When a mass airflow sensor fails or a catalytic converter clogs, you are not dealing with a simple mechanical swap anymore. You are dealing with electronic diagnostics, proprietary software resets, and labor hours that add up quickly. Luxury brands have always dealt with these costs, but budget cars have quietly caught up to them in terms of repair expenses when major components fail. The sticker price looks low, but the repair invoice looks exactly like it belongs to a newer, more expensive vehicle. Beyond the immediate repair bill, cheap cars carry hidden ownership costs that most buyers forget to factor in. When a high-mileage budget car breaks down on a highway, you are not just paying for the tow truck. You are paying for rental transportation while the car sits in a shop. You are paying for missed work if you cannot arrange alternative rides. You are paying for emergency loan interest if you put the repair on a credit card. You are also paying for the stress of not knowing whether the next component will fail next week or next month. These indirect costs rarely show up on a listing page, but they accumulate fast. If you add just 2 tow events, 3 days of rental coverage, and a single emergency repair financed at a high interest rate, you can easily add $2,000 to $3,000 to your 5-year ownership cost before you even factor in routine maintenance. That does not mean cheap cars have no place in a smart buying strategy. When chosen carefully, they offer genuine advantages. The first is lower upfront capital. If you pay cash, you avoid finance charges entirely, which eliminates interest payments that can add thousands over a loan term. The second advantage is slower absolute depreciation. A car that has already lost half its value will not drop another half in the next 5 years, which means your equity loss stays contained. The third advantage is mechanical familiarity in certain models. A base trim sedan from a manufacturer known for straightforward engineering often uses proven powertrains and widely available replacement parts. The fourth advantage is flexibility. If a transmission repair quote hits $2,000 on a vehicle worth $4,000, you can make a clear financial decision without feeling anchored to a massive investment. Those benefits are real, but they only hold true when the vehicle was properly maintained, the title is clean, and you have actually set aside money for unexpected repairs. Now we need to address the problems that quietly turn bargain cars into financial drains. High-mileage vehicles routinely face engine wear that leads to excessive oil consumption, reduced cylinder compression, and valve train noise. Transmissions that missed routine fluid changes every 60,000 miles can develop delayed shifting, slipping gears, or complete hydraulic failure. Suspension components like struts, control arms, ball joints, and bushings wear down, which directly affects handling, tire wear, and braking stability. Timing belts on interference. Engines, if they snap due to age or neglect, can bend valves and destroy pistons in seconds. In northern states that use road salt, hidden rust can weaken frame rails and subframe mounting points. These are not rare defects. They are the most commonly reported failure points on vehicles that have crossed the 100,000-mile threshold. Fixing them requires skilled labor and genuine replacement parts, and national repair order averages reflect that reality. A fuel pump replacement typically runs between $1,125 and $1,247. A starter replacement averages $744 to $837. A single timing belt and water pump service often exceeds $900. One major failure can erase the entire price advantage you thought you secured. Buyers also need to understand how sellers protect themselves when moving older inventory. Private sellers frequently list vehicles as sold as is, which means you have zero legal recourse once money changes hands. Dealers sometimes use cosmetic detailing, engine base sprays, and temporary transmission additives to mask symptoms during a short test drive. Title washing remains a serious issue, where flood-damaged or salvaged vehicles are retitled in states with looser reporting standards to appear clean on a basic vehicle history report. That is why relying solely on a printed history document is never enough. You need physical verification, which means spending $100 to $200 on a pre-purchase inspection from a mechanic who does not sell cars. You also need to cross-reference service receipts, verify the seller's identity, and never send deposits before seeing the vehicle in person. Skipping these steps is how budget car buyers accidentally purchase expensive liabilities. So who should actually buy a cheap car in this market? If you have hands-on mechanical knowledge, or if you have a trusted independent repair shop that charges transparent labor rates, a budget vehicle can absolutely work. If you plan to own it for only 2 or 3 years, keep your driving miles moderate, and can tolerate a degree of uncertainty, it remains a valid path. If you are strictly cash only, need reliable transportation immediately, and have a separate emergency fund specifically set aside for automotive repairs, you are positioned to handle the reality of older vehicle ownership. But who should avoid this route entirely? If you depend on your car for daily commuting with no public transit backup, if a surprise $2,000 repair would force you into high-interest debt, or if you live far from reputable independent mechanics, a cheap car introduces financial and logistical risk you are not equipped to manage. In those situations, spending more upfront on a certified pre-owned vehicle with remaining factory warranty coverage can actually lower your total 5-year cost. That brings us to the better alternatives that balance affordability with predictability. Certified pre-owned programs from manufacturers like Toyota, Lexus, and Honda offer a structured middle ground. Independent analysis consistently shows that certified vehicles report about 14% fewer problems than non-certified used cars because they must pass multi-point inspections, receive necessary maintenance before sale, and come with extended warranty coverage that mirrors original factory protection. They also eliminate the guesswork of unknown service history. Another highly effective approach is targeting late-model non-luxury vehicles that are 3 to 5 years old and under 60,000 miles. These cars have already absorbed the steepest depreciation curve but still retain modern safety systems, updated emissions controls, and significantly lower immediate repair risk. According to CarEdge's 2025 cost projections, the Toyota Corolla hatchback carries a predicted 5-year total cost of ownership of just $29,686. The Hyundai Venue tracks closely at $31,581. Neither wears a luxury badge, but both deliver the exact thing most buyers actually need: predictable expenses and proven reliability. Let us walk through a complete 5-year math comparison so you can see how these numbers behave in reality. Imagine you purchase a budget sedan for $6,000. Over 5 years, you face an average of $1,200 per year in maintenance and repairs, which aligns with industry projections for a 5-year-old vehicle driven 15,000 miles annually. That totals $6,000 in upkeep. You pay $150 monthly for insurance, which adds $9,000. Fuel costs run 15 cents per mile for 75,000 miles, totaling $11,250. Registration, taxes, and minor incidentals round out at $2,000. Your gross 5-year expenditure comes to $34,250. Now compare that to a certified pre-owned luxury hybrid sedan purchased for $30,000. Depreciation over 5 years likely costs $8,000. Maintenance buffered by remaining warranty coverage and higher baseline reliability averages $800 yearly, totaling $4,000. Insurance runs $240 monthly, adding $14,400. Fuel efficiency drops your cost to 10 cents per mile, totaling $7,500. Registration and fees reach $3,000. Your gross expenditure hits $66,900. At first glance, the luxury car looks dramatically more expensive, but ownership does not end at the 5-year mark. When you sell the luxury sedan after 5 years, its strong residual value likely returns $22,000 to you. The budget sedan, now worn and potentially carrying repair history, may only fetch $1,000. Adjusting for resale, the luxury car's net cost drops to $44,900. The budget car's net cost sits at $33,250. The gap is roughly $11,650 over 5 years, which averages to just under $200 per month. That monthly difference sounds small until you factor in what each scenario actually delivers. The certified vehicle provides predictable scheduling, modern crash protection, reliable climate control, and warranty-backed repairs that keep you from choosing between a transmission rebuild and your rent payment. The budget car might save you money in a perfect scenario, but perfect scenarios rarely survive contact with real roads. One unexpected breakdown that strands you during a job interview, one rusted brake line that fails inspection, or one electronic module that requires dealer programming can instantly erase that $200 monthly advantage. This is not about declaring one category universally superior. It is about matching the vehicle to your actual life circumstances, your emergency fund size, your commuting requirements, and your tolerance for financial uncertainty. The final decision comes down to how you define value. If you walk into a purchase with verified maintenance records, a clean title, an independent inspection report, and a dedicated repair fund equal to at least 20% of the purchase price, a cheap car can absolutely serve you well. Stick to manufacturers with documented long-term reliability, avoid modified vehicles, and treat every oil change and fluid flush as non-negotiable. But if your priority is minimizing surprise expenses, securing predictable transportation, and protecting your financial stability, a certified pre-owned vehicle from a top reliability brand delivers stronger long-term value. The goal is never to spend the absolute minimum on day one. The goal is to manage your total cost of ownership across the entire time you drive the vehicle. Because in the end, the truly affordable car is not the one with the lowest window sticker. It is the one that starts every morning, handles your daily commute safely, and leaves your savings account intact when the unexpected happens.